Romanosky from the Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada. And what we have here is one of my favorite cars. This is a Ferrari 456 GT. We've got it in a little bit of a constrained location here, so bear with me. But this would have been the four-seater Ferrari that would have replaced the 365 that went into the 400, that went into the 412, and it would have come out in 1995 and run into mid-2000s, maybe 2004, and then it would have been replaced by the 612 Scalietti. So this is a Pininfarina design. It's an absolutely gorgeous car. It's a front engine V12, 440 horsepower, 300 kilometers an hour, but this car is softer for a Ferrari. This is a Grand Touring Ferrari. It's a beautiful, smooth gearbox. For the gated shifters, many of them are quite difficult and bulky, especially when they're cold, and this one isn't. There's quite a bit of assist on the steering, quite a bit of assist on the brakes. This is, you can drive this car very leisurely. Not that it's slow, it still goes 300 kilometers an hour. But it isn't a sports car in the way that the 360s are, or even the 550, which you might think would drive similar, but it doesn't. This is, anyway, it is a beautiful machine. I really like it. I left the hood up so we could look at it, and this is an era before engines were shrouded in plastic and so on. It still looks like an engine. So this is a 5.5 liter V12, 4-valve per cylinder, 440 horsepower, will wind to 7,000 RPM, and it makes fantastic noises. It's just a great package, and like I said, the transmission is beautifully suited to the engine. So this car just had $20,000 spent on it. I mean, with any Ferrari, you know, that's the first question you ask is maintenance history and so on. And this car has a immaculate provenance. It was a Canadian car. It was bought in Vancouver sold to a Bulgarian who there wasn't a Ferrari dealer here at the time. It was serviced by a master tech, and that's a guy by the name of Dave Turner at Lone Star, who works on all the exotics. So it just had new tires, just had new suspension, accumulators done on it. It is active suspension, so variable valving in the shocks, electronically controlled, and there's some accumulators which go on these cars, and they're expensive, and they were just replaced. New tires, and then a belt service. So in the last 100 kilometers, it's had $20,000 spent on it. The car only has 25,000 kilometers. It's been in Calgary its whole life. It's only had one owner. It's never been hit. The bumper was sprayed for rock chips once. It's never been out in the heat. The leather hasn't shrunk. I mean, it's as perfect a 456 as you'll ever find. You can get these cars cheap, but this is one car. When I say cheap, I mean, you know, maybe 50 or 60,000 US dollars. But this is a car that you really can't afford a cheap one. These things neglected can cost you a lot more than you might think. So if you're going to buy a 456 Ferrari, and this probably goes true just about all Ferraris, buy the best car. Buy the best car. Forget the rest. So, and this is an example of that. Complete doc. I have the original brochure, the salesman's card, all the correspondence with Ferrari. I've got all the maintenance records. I've got everything on this car. I've known the car for 10 years. It's an older gentleman who had it, and then it was traded in on the DBS. So getting in the car, the first thing you notice is that you've got lots of room in the seats. The seats are pretty plush and comfortable. You know, this reminds me of some of the older 60s Ferraris, like a 365 GT 2+2. Where they were refined cars for long distance motoring for gentleman drivers, not the race cars. And so the interior is beautifully and simply done. I mean, on modern Ferraris, there's pods and things and lights flashing everywhere. And this is the steering wheel. It's just a beautiful steering wheel. There's a row of gauges. I mean, this car goes right back, design-wise. It goes right back to the glory days of the Grand Touring cars, the 50s and the 60s. And like I said, the gearbox was especially surprising because there's not a lot of bulkiness going through the gated shifter. It's almost like it's a different design than the sports cars, and certainly you can drive it with a lot less effort, and clutch as well. So it's there's occasional rear seats in the back. There's terrific visibility out of the car. And with this car, just about every square inch is covered with leather. The entire door panels, the entire headliner, the entire dash, the entire center console. So if you get a car that's from a hot climate, this will all start to pull away, and you will get a $25,000 quote for somebody to redo it. So that's an important thing on these older Ferraris, on the really high-end ones, is that you really need to find one that's been looked after. And this one virtually can't be faulted. I mean, the only thing that I can see is the on the climate control here is basically the sticker, and you can see it lifting slightly. But there's companies that can give you a new you can put a new one of those on if you want. So anyway, it's free of scuffs. The sills are in good shape. There's almost nothing in the way of bolster wear. The leather is still really soft and supple. Of course, it doesn't look like anybody's ever been in the back. And the same goes for the outside of the car too. It's a straight, clean car. No door dings, no curb rash, no anything. But the piece de la resistance on this car, I think, is the Shidoni fitted luggage. So this, I mean, it's never been used. It's still in its original bags, and still has the original bubble wrap from Ferrari. And if you're going touring in style, you pull up in front of the hotel and you take out your Shidoni Ferrari bags, and this is of course the correct bag for the car, the 456 GT. If you go out to a boutique somewhere and you want to buy a Shidoni bag that's new, it'll be like $3,500 each. So the luggage on these cars would have added maybe $10,000 to the price of the car, and like I said, it's never been used. So the car has a 2B exhaust that's been fitted at one time. And in summary, you just won't find a better 456 GT. I think we can really stand behind this car. We have complete history, complete documentation, all the service records. $20,000 was just spent in the last 100 kilometers. It's basically perfect inside and out, and it comes with a luggage. So it's a terrific example of a car, and actually a real pleasure to be able to sell it. So if you'd like more information, please contact us. It's Lawrence Romanosky from the Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada, the '95 Ferrari 456 GT. Thank you.